Hello, hello, hello. This is Roosevelt Bowie coming to you live here at Orange Appeal. Just wanted to think about the game the other night and come back and bestow some words of wisdom, some post-game thoughts. There were a few things that I was thinking about that came to mind. If somebody could jump on and let me know how the sound is, that would be fantastic. I want to make sure that my sound is working properly so that you don't miss anything I have to say. A few important things, I would imagine. Let's see here. I'd like to give thanks to Jung King for sponsoring us this year, and thanks also to General Shoes, Tidy Tracks, Endicott, New York. Um, there's a few other, also Fallon and Fallon Family Dentistry on West Genesee Street in Camillus, New York. And special thanks to the Clam Bar, the biggest little place in Syracuse. Well, I see that we've got somebody here. Jerry Kelly, thank you. Sounds great. Okay, there's just a few I've outlined here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 topics that I want to touch upon. Um, and I wanted to, so I'll start out with the fans. Syracuse University has some of the greatest fans on the face of the planet. And ciao Sergio, they have some of the greatest fans on the planet, but they also have a lot of people that pretend to be fans um, that are really casual spectators. Because you're real Syracuse fans, through heck or high water, they support the team, and those are the people that will help, will rally around the team, support them, and help boost them into better times. And if you're a real fan, own it. If you're an imitation fan, you're a casual spectator. Don't worry about it. It happens. That happens out there in the true world too. So in the real world too. So, but the real fans support your team, especially during tough times. That'll make it just even sweeter when they turn the corner and they are where they're supposed to be. So my next note is talking about the staff. NCAA, you missed again. You missed the target again. Ejecting assistant coaches for calming their players down and keeping the game from getting out of hand, and they got kicked out of the game. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm not too cool with that. That doesn't make sense to me. Kudos to Adrian Autry, Alan Griffin, and Pete Corsani. They were trying to calm guys down so they could get back to playing. That's what their job is to do on and off the court, whether there's a game there, a referee's present or not. So kudos to guys. Great job calming everything down, getting back to the game. That's for the staff. Now, got a couple words here for the refs. Dear refs, no one is here to see you. Be consistent. You don't have to be good or bad, just be consistent. And that is my note to the refs. No one is here to see you. You're not the main attraction. We're here to see the guys play. Let the kids play. If you're good, it's easy to adjust to what you're doing. If you're consistently bad, that's easy too because you learn what you can and can't do. But don't do like you did this past game. So another note for the refs. they were not prepared for this game. Now, anything that the team does, the team's responsible for. They're out there playing. But I can tell you that when I turned the game on, I started watching the game. 30 seconds into this game, I knew exactly what the Bryant coach had planned. There was no doubt in my mind whatsoever. He was going to make it physical. He's going to make it aggressive. He's going to try to get. He's going to be make it a very physical game. I've done it in my lifetime in 13 years. 60% of the teams I played against try this, and you got to be when this happens. You have to understand how to handle it. And this brings me back to one situation where I saw it handled so masterfully when it was a Syracuse against St. Bonaventure game. It was two teams didn't like each other. There was no doubt in anybody's mind. The game started, and it was, we should like to say, it's like metal on a grinding wheel. There were sparks flying everywhere, and we were about, I want to say, we're probably 40, 45 seconds into the game. The referees noticed it, and I'll tell you, the ref's name was Dick Slumkowski, about 6'6", 6'7", I believe. He noticed that, and I'm telling you, I was going all in with the other center. We were going at it. The stuff that you saw in that past game, couldn't hold a candle to. We were just getting position under the basket, sparks flying. All you heard were grunts and bumps and bangs. And he came over, he blew his whistle, he walked over to the bench. Dick Slumkowski walked over to the bench and he looked at the table and he said, "My timeout." And he walked over to me, and he walked over to the other gentleman who I was sparking it up with, and he stood right in front of us, and he looked both of us in the eyes, and he said, "So, this is the deal. You guys can clean it up and cut it out, or I'm going to give you both 2 fouls in 30 seconds, and you can sit down and watch the first half." He had my undivided attention, and the guy I was playing against, his undivided attention. We looked at him. He said, "So, what's it going to be? Do you want to play or you want to sit down?" We both looked at each other. We said, "Play." He walked over to the table. End of my timeout. Let's play ball. We went back out there. We played basketball. It was a situation just as volatile as the one that I saw the other night. And I watched him control that in a way that I had a great deal of respect for him after that. The referees lost control of that game in the early going because it's very clear that Bryant was going to come out, get physical. They're going to push the envelope. And instead of controlling it, Jesse with 5 fouls. Jesse was pretty much, I have a funny thing that I used to always say, when you're playing in the post, if somebody gets that close to me, it makes me want to turn around and kiss them. You're not supposed to put we're not supposed to be playing each other with so much contact between the two that you couldn't watch it in a PG-13 film. These guys were bumping and pushing and leaning, and in my mind, all I could see was the referee just tooting the whistle, say, "Hey guys, okay, coaches." And mind you, when Dick Slumkowski did that to us, not only did he talk to us, he called us over, the 2 players that were heating it up, whatever, it could be any 2 players in that game. Then after he said that, he walked over and he addressed the coaches. He said, "Hey, listen, I just explained to you guys, they're either going to calm down and play basketball because this wrestling and this banging and bumping, and I'm not going to let it get out of hand." And in 15 seconds, he told us, and all of that nonsense, poof, it was gone. So referees, you lost control of the game. If you want to be good at your job, control the game before something breaks out. As soon as I see things like that happen, I understand as a player that the referees have lost control of the game. Now, I have another card, future effects. Now, thanks to video, every team that comes in to play Syracuse, that's going to play against Syracuse, is going to think that they can come out and be physical, over the top, stir the pot. Get ready to see it again, guys, because you're going to see it again because they think it worked. They're not going to take into consideration that, these referees let things get out of hand. But, kudos to the Bryant team. They brought it. They were older. They were much more experienced at playing this way. That was their game plan, obvious to see, because even their coach was acting out. Don't know him. That's why I call him the coach, because you hear me talk about Coach Boeheim, I'll always use his name. When somebody does something that I don't appreciate, he's a coach. I don't want to waste brain cells remembering what his name is. I could care less. And not that he should worry about it, but it was very obvious that was what the plan was. So, guys, get ready, get your heads on straight. Understand that you're going to need to be intense, focused on your game plan, because the only way for them to take you out of your game plan is to make it emotional. So, young guys, get ready. They're going to bring it. They're going to try it. Because other teams are going to watch that video and they're going to see what happened. They're going to go, hey, that's the way to do it. And all it takes is a cool head, because a cool head, our team with a cool head and our point guard on the floor, this team couldn't hold a candle to. All the coaching in the world is not going to prepare a young player that's charged up and firing, ready to play in front of his home crowd, and a guy comes and and does that to him. Not now. Also, my question for the referees. I had a question for the referees. So, both guys get kicked out of the game. You went over, you looked at the video. When you looked at the video, you could see that the Bryant player kicked, literally obstructed. He kicked him and almost made him fall down. So when he gets up and he slapped him, naturally, you're not supposed to do that. And then the other guy slaps him back, you're not supposed to do that either. But when you go back and you look at the video and you see that he was purposely tripped, like, hey, you've done it before. You've gone back and looked at videos. I can understand both guys getting expelled. When you go back and look at that video, somebody should get a game where they're disqualified. Wonder who that should be. Maybe the guy laying on the floor that tripped our guy when he was trying to walk, or when he was walking away from the ordeal. Something to think about. Now, this other segment that I'm going to do is about the media from an athlete's point of view. The media from an athlete's point of view is for everybody else to watch. Let me put a pause on that. I got a couple questions here. Excuse me, from Hank. I hope you didn't hear that. He says, Rosie, how do you think Benny will adjust in the next game? I think so. Coach Boeheim said Benny was really sick as a dog. He tried to go out there and play. You try what you can. It didn't work. I think he's probably even more upset now that he didn't get a chance to play, and this whole ordeal went off, and he wishes he'd go back and do it again. I think it's fuel. I think he'll use it as fuel. He wasn't able to come out there and help his teammates out. I think the next time he comes out there, he's going to be loaded for bear. That might give him that extra. We want him to be hungry and aggressive in playing, and I think that he has that ability. He's a freak of nature. He's got that ability to play the game. He's scoring better. He's rebounding better. I think a game like this, it's kind of salty. Will make him want to play better. I hope I answered your question. Sunny Spare, brother, how you doing? Sonny sent us a note. He said, "Got us down to their level." Listen, what he means by got us down to their level, our game plan, the coach Beheim gave everybody, would have been sufficient enough to beat this team. We didn't follow our game plan. We followed their game plan because there were a couple, you got to have the experience to understand when something like that happens. You got to be, somebody gets in your face, you got to, like, listen, this is not me. I'm representing my team. I got to be careful. I got to understand. And I do believe, and I do believe that Judah means he understands that now. He understands that better than anybody. To have to sit out and watch that happen to his team, he understands. He just grew. He just grew significantly in one game. He's been growing all along, but I think it'll help him to become the leader that he needs to be. Thanks, Sonny, brother. It's always good to talk to you. And tell your wife to turn the flash on because the pictures she takes are kind of dark, man. Private joke here. Let's see what other notes. Jerry Kelly, Rosie, that coach is a jerk. You know what? I am positive that when the Big East was starting, and those two young coaches, Coach Jim Boeheim and Coach what's his name there, John Thompson, when they were acting out, they're trying to get press. They're trying to make a name for themselves. There's no reason for two grown men to act like that. Excuse me, two grown men, for any grown man to act like that. The way he acted, you know, he was. That's why I know it was his game plan. That was his idea to get Syracuse off their game because on the level playing field, player per player, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He had to mix it up and get it crazy for something like that to happen. So I'm not gonna call him a jerk because you already did. All right, let's see here. Some other. Let's see. Yeah. So that. So I wanted to get back to my point about the media. The media is fantastic. This advice is to the players. Media is fantastic for everybody except you. You're It's good if you're cordial with the media. That's fine, but your focus is not. There's not enough time in the day, or not enough minutes on the court for you to be focused on what something might be said about you when you got 12 other guys or 13 other guys that are out there on the floor that need you to be thinking about whatever it takes to make this team better. And the reason I say that is, um, I wanted to address social media. Social media in today's athletes. It's always been, um, anything that was done in the media was someone's idea of what they saw happen on the court. Okay, that's a little bit too simplistic, but it was, as a player, what's going on in that locker room because you're privy to all the ins and outs of your basketball team. Everything the coaches say, when the coaches are upset, when the players are upset, all the stuff that happens in the locker room behind closed doors that nobody knows about. You know about it. You understand it. For the team to grow, you've got to focus on what's going on between your teammates. And I like what I've seen. You guys are growing and looking really good. Listen, Justin Taylor. I wrote down one word. He grew. He's seen what it's like to jump into the lion's den, and he came out with flying colors. You got Jesse Edwards. Jesse, you're not; those aren't all fouls. You know, my advice would be Avoid situations that you can't control. If there's something that might give the referee a chance to call something dumb, hey, listen, let the guy go to the basket. Just stand still, let him make the contact. Don't even jump. But this you've got to put in your mind before the game starts, because you on the court is essential to Syracuse's success. Now, don't give the referees any chance to call anything ridiculous. If you see a situation developing, you've seen enough of them now, you're a senior, stay away from those situations in the beginning, because there's nothing sweeter than a guy that scores one or two baskets against you and thinks he's got it going on, and then once you've settled into your game, you calm down, and then you block his next three shots. You own him. He's useless for the rest of the game. Put that in the back of your mind. You don't have to let him. You don't have to let him score, but try to the first penetrations coming to the basket. Try moving your feet and getting your body between them and the basket, and not using your arms. Work on moving your feet. It'll be a great exercise for helping you to get position when you go back on the other end. Move your feet, get position, attack the basket. But hey, I couldn't be more proud of the way that you came in and just manhandled everybody. 12 points and 21 rebounds. If I had a hat on, I'd take it off and throw it away. Um, Judaments, just so you know, it's going to happen. There's gonna be some guy that wants to try that every single time. There's gonna be some guy on some team. Understand that I had to put up with that for about my last 4 years. So I averaged a double-double for 13 years. And so some coach, there's always some new coach trying to get onto the scene. They'll say, hey, you know what? We could solve this problem that we're having. Like Bowie corks up the middle. He's scoring 16, 17 points a game. He's getting 12, 13 rebounds. No second shots we're getting. Hey, if somebody could get him angry and maybe start a fight, you're taking away 60% of their rebounds and 40% of their scoring. We could win this game. It's going to happen. They're all going to try it. But Judah, now you know. Welcome to college basketball. You're smarter. You're smarter already, but that responsibility comes with the territory. You are point guard of Syracuse University, and now you have that weight on your shoulders, and you felt that weight while that game was going on, while you were sitting in the back, and that's like fuel. You don't ever want to do that again. I know you don't. And welcome to the NCAA. You'll learn from the situation. And last but not least, players, you have to be careful who has access to you. I know you guys love social media, but be careful who has immediate access to you. The only people that are supposed to have immediate access to you are your parents, your close friends, your coaches. Anybody else, I may be a little bit different than most people. I didn't read any articles written about me ever when I played. I had a friend of mine, I had a close friend that collected them and put them in a scrapbook. And when I retired, when I was 36 years old, I sat down and I read them, because I couldn't afford to be affected by the negativity. I needed to stay focused on what the coaches wanted me to do, what my teammates needed me to do, and my work ethic, what I had to stay focused on doing. You don't need outside influence to tell you what happened during the game. You were not only in the game, you played it, and then you went in, you're there at halftime, and the coaches helped you out to understand what your problems are. Everybody's talking about Joe Girard. I've got 2 words for Joe: keep shooting. The law of averages dictates you're gonna wear that rim out. There's gonna be no paint. There's gonna be no paint. Those nets are going to be shreds. Keep shooting it. The law of averages dictates you can shoot that thing, so continue to shoot it. No problem whatsoever. Head up. Don't listen to what anybody else says. Brendan Malone told me something before a big game that we had. We were number 2 in the country playing against the number 1 team in the country, Purdue. And I was doing my workout. He'd have me come over 30 minutes after every practice I worked on, post up moves, all those kind of things. And right at the end, at the end of my workout, I was sweating so hard, and he just walked over to me and he looked at me and he said, he says, I know only one player that 100% can stop you cold every single time. And I said, really? And I said, who's that player, coach? He said, that player's name is Roosevelt Bowie. He said, there's only one player that can stop you every single time. That's yourself. Don't get down on yourself. You will play like you practice. Practice hard, practice intense. Get out there, get it out of your system. Make hard practice a habit. And this team that we're seeing here is going to be very exciting to watch. I'm glad to see that they have a heartbeat. These guys they went out there and they were in a dogfight, and they came out the other side of this dogfight and they said, you know what? That's fuel. We see what we need to do. We saw their game plan. It's not going to be new. Be ready for it. Be prepared for it. You'll get your chance to give it back to somebody else. That's all my points. Add a little bit for the fans. Again, for the coaching staff, Adrian Autry, Alan Griffin, and Pete Corsanti. Pete, hey guys, you did what you're supposed to do. You went out there to make sure our guys didn't get involved in any nonsense and get hurt. And kudos to you. Thanks again for doing your job. Refs, hey, if you want the real juice, control the game. The true sign of a game getting out of control is when what you saw happened during the game. The pushing and people running off the bench. And you can't tell me that as referees you didn't know that was a possibility. Because if that's what you're telling me, then you're really not doing your job. You don't deserve to get paid for it. Because watching 30 seconds of the game start, all the contact, the physicalness, the coach chirping at our players, you let that happen. Refs, you let that happen. It takes 2 seconds. Hey, keep it civil. You can control it. I know people that have. Let's see what else. Hank, let's see. Even though it was a loss, I saw a lot of positive. I think it was just our defense. Better second half, more energy, not allowing baseline cuts would kill us in front. Yeah, there was a lot of positive stuff. This is a marathon. It's a sprint. This is a marathon, not a sprint. You're absolutely correct, Hank. There was a lot of good things that I saw out there that leads me to believe that this team is going to be a lot of fun to watch. Let them stay healthy, give them time to grow amongst themselves. If you jumped off the bandwagon, stay off the bandwagon. It doesn't make any difference, because true Syracuse fans understand that we said in the beginning, this is a young team. They're going to have their trials and tribulations. Some want to talk about, players that don't rebound. Hey, that's not our job. That's coach's job. He'll figure it out. And it's that player's job, because he'll either figure out or he won't be playing. So that's simple enough. When coaches want you to play and ask you to do something, you do what they ask you, not what you want. And I think that pretty much covers everything. Please excuse me if I was long-winded. Let me see. I like this here. Christopher. Plus side, the freshmen are gaining valuable experience that will very much help them down the road. Absolutely, positively correct. There's That's absolutely correct. I'm very excited to see them, grow the way that they're growing. And I'm not wired for all this negativity. I don't have time for it. I like to, so I try to keep things positive. I might say something negative about referees, sorry, but I don't know any. And the ones that I do know, you already know I don't like refs. So I feel a whole lot better now. I hope some of my insight was helpful. Hope it wasn't too long-winded. And I do believe it's time to go get some of those Thanksgiving leftovers. So thanks everyone. Thanks General Shoes, Tidy Tracks. Thanks to you too, Hank, Junk King. I'd also like to thank the Clam Bar, Brewerton Road, North Syracuse, the biggest little place in Syracuse. And my friends over at Fallon and Fallon Family Dentistry, West Genesee Street, Camillus, New York. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Okay, now I feel a whole lot better. Get ready, we're going to see some interesting play. There's more challenges ahead of these guys, and they're getting a look at. You want them to see the tough, so they can know what's expected of them later on in the year. Because what really happened, what's really important, is get into that tournament and growing naturally. But we got some young players. They're 6 games in. They've experienced some tough situations. After a while, we're gonna have to stop talking about how young they are because they're gonna be experienced players, not freshmen. Have a great day. Thanks for listening. Saluto. Ciao.